take a look at all the cool stuff here. All right. You can see here we have upgraded everything. Nothing left to upgrade for Wayne Tech. Map and objectives, we've already done that. We don't need to do it anymore. All right, so Riddler's challenges. We've completed all of them in Penitentiary. We've completed all of them in Botanical Gardens. We've completed all of them in Arkham Island West. We've completed all of them in Arkham Island East. We've completed all of them in Arkham Island North. We've completed all of them in Intensive Treatment. We have completed all of them in Medical Facility. We've completed all of them in Caves. We've completed all of them in Arkham Mansion. So there you go. We've completed all 240 of the Riddler's challenges. But now we have these bios. Look at all this stuff that we got. When his parents were gunned down in front of him, young Bruce Wayne resolved to rid Gotham City. Where's my massager? I need my massager now. I don't need my controller. I need my massager. Ow. Okay. What was I saying? Ah, yes. So when his parents were gunned down in front of him, young Bruce Wayne resolved to rid Gotham City of the criminal element that took their lives. He trained extensively to achieve mental and physical perfection. In addition to mastering martial arts, detective techniques, and criminal psychology, dressing as a bat to prey on criminals' fears, Batman fights crime. With the aid of specialized gadgets and vehicles operating out of his secret Batcave below Wayne Manor. How do you go back? Escape. Oh, here's the Joker. Whoa. So Batman is actually Bruce Wayne, in case you did not know. His occupation is he is a CEO philanthropist. Base of operations is Gotham City. His eyes are blue. See, I knew I liked him. My eyes are green, but my wife's are blue. I love blue eyes. His hair is black. He's 6 feet 2 inches tall. 210 pounds of pure muscle. His first appearance was 1939 in the Detective Comics number 27. Attributes. He's trained to physical and mental peak. He has an arsenal of gadgets, vehicles, and advanced technology. He's an inventor. He's a detective. He's a genius-level intelligence. Or he has. Expert in most known forms of martial arts. He's trained in all aspects of criminology, mastery of the physical sciences, computer expert, master of disguise, photographic memory. There's no such thing. You mean eidetic memory. Trained in stealth and espionage techniques. And he's an expert escape artist. There you go. That's Batman. Here's Bruce Wayne. Born into the wealthy family, Wayne family, Bruce Wayne had an idyllic childhood, although he was given a strong sense of justice by his moralistic and philanthropic parents, Thomas and Martha. After their violent murder at the hands of a mugger, Bruce dedicated his life to battling the criminal element that took their lives. He left Gotham for many years to train his mental and physical abilities across the globe, finally returning to take up the mantle of the Dark Knight. All the same attributes here, and all the same attributes here. Thomas and Martha. Thomas Wayne was a gifted surgeon and heir to the Wayne fortune. Dedicated to philanthropy as much as medicine, he and his wife Martha were well known and respected in Gotham. Martha Wayne shared her husband Thomas's charitable nature and was dedicated to her son Bruce's upbringing. She was well regarded in Gotham City's social circles and helped host lavish charity balls at Wayne Manor. Their tragic murder at the hands of a desperate burglar, Joe Chill, in Gotham's Crime Alley, shook the city to its core and led to years of urban blight. It also inspired their son, Bruce, to eventually become the Batman. Doctor, philanthropist, Gotham City, blue eyes in Thomas, brown eyes in Martha. Hair, black hair for Thomas. Thomas was 6'1", and Martha 5'8". Thomas was 180 pounds. Interesting. They first appeared in Detective Comics number 33, November 1939. They were highly gifted, well-trained surgeon in Thomas, heir to the Wayne family fortune, dedicated philanthropist, mother to Bruce Wayne, wife to Thomas Wayne. Okay, let's get into the Joker here. An insanely homicidal supervillain, the Joker's white skin, green hair, and blood-red lips belly the chaotic nature underlying his cartoonish appearance. The self-styled clown prince of crime has no superpowers beyond a capacity for incredible violence and a skill at creating deadly mayhem. He frequently concocts elaborate schemes to entrap his arch nemesis, Batman. Real name unknown. He's a professional criminal, if that's even a thing. Eyes are green, hair is green. He's 6 foot tall, weight 160 pounds. First appeared in 1940. So not long after Batman appeared. Unrepentant, homicidal maniac, albeit without a precise psychological diagnosis. Surprisingly strong hand-to-hand combat. I think that's more so you just can't knock him out. His electrical circuits do not short circuit. His past is unknown. Conflicting, unconfirmed reports state that he was a failed comedian, a petty thief, and a broken family man. Employs various deadly weapons, often based on party gag items. Frequently uses a toxin that stretches victim's face into a Joker-like grin and causes death. Let's listen to these interviews.
Take patient interview. Subject has no recorded name. Alias listed as the Joker. In the room is Warden Sharp and myself, Dr. Young.
Is this another one of those boring psych evaluation tests?
No, it's not. So, you're the famous Joker.
In the flesh. So, Doc,
Famous.
you want me to look at the ink blots again? The first one is a kitten I had when I was a child. The second is, let's see, a dead elephant. The third is a...
Funny. Now let's skip the jokes.
Skip the jokes? Hey, Sharpie, didn't she get my permanent record? Be quiet, clown.
Every doctor that has ever interviewed you claims a different type of psychosis. Everything from multiple personality disorders to, well, the list is endless.
I do my best.
Well, I don't believe it. Anything can be cured given the correct treatment.
And you think you can cure me?
Oh, I know I can. Take patient interview 17. Joker remains uncooperative. My earlier diagnosis remains true. I believe he enjoys his persona too much.
What's up, Doc?
Today I thought we'd try something different.
Oh, you make me blush, Doc. I have a girlfriend.
Dr. Quinzel, I know. I've seen the tapes. I saw what happened.
What can I say? I'm a charmer.
Anyway, I thought it would be good to talk about your childhood.
Oh, ever heard of romance, Doc? I don't give up the goods for free. You'll have to try harder.
What are you hiding?
Didn't you hear me? You scratch my back, Doc, and, well, I won't have you wrapped in
Oh man, that got real fast.
Take patient interview 20. Joker is more interesting than I originally believed. When Project Titan is operational, I believe Joker will be the perfect test subject. Good afternoon.
And
Did
ultimately he
anyone
becomes
get
one.
back to our previous conversations about your family?
Of course. I was born in a small fishing village. I always wanted to join the circus, but my father wouldn't really let me.
I don't believe you.
My father was a cop. 1 week from retirement when the mob...
I've seen the movie. What are you scared of?
Scared?
Yes, scared. There's obviously something. Something that made you what you are.
What if I'm too scared to remember? It hurts too
Oh,
much.
poor
Then
Joker.
I can help you. These are the private notes of Dr. Young. Titan is a success. Even my funding worries have been solved after the unexpected donations from Mr. White. Joker has also
The Joker.
shown a remarkable interest in the possibility of a cure. Once the protein bonding process is finalized, I will...
Dr. Young, you ready?
Oh, yes, come in.
You'll hurt my feelings, Doc. Keeping me waiting like that.
Sit down. You can leave us.
You sure?
We're fine. Aren't we, Joker?
Oh, yes. Well, if you insist. I'm just outside, okay?
That's not smart.
So is he here? Did your patient X arrive?
Yes, I must say progressing more rapidly than I expected. But enough of that. Let's talk about you.
No. Let's talk more about your Titan project.
My what?
How do I know you have Bane strapped to a table in the basement while you pump him dry?
Oh,
Would you believe a lucky guess?
lucky guess.
I've been a fool. Joker was behind it all. He's Jack White. He gave me the money, pulled the strings to release Bane. How could I not have seen it? He's been blackmailing me. He has a crazy plan to create an army of monsters. I want out, but... Hello? Hello? Dr. Young's office.
Please hold for Mr. White.
What?
Hello, Doc. We need to talk.
I'm not doing it, Joker. Do you hear me? Wait. How did you get access to a phone?
Oh, yes. Sorry, Doc. Had to split. I hate small, confined spaces. Reminds me of my childhood.
Another lie?
Who knows? I certainly don't, but let's not get distracted with details. So, anyway, I want my monsters.
I sent you back the money. I don't want it.
Do I look like I care about money? I just want my monsters, Doc. And if you don't give them to me, well, then it won't be funny.
That's funny. It looks like this is Barbara Gordon here, Oracle, the daughter of Gotham City's police commissioner James W. Gordon. Barbara Gordon was forbidden by her overprotective father from joining the GCPD. Instead, she took on the identity of Batgirl and was a crime-fighting partner of Batman for years, but that all ended when the Joker shot her through the spine. Paralyzed from the waist down and confined to a wheelchair, Barbara adopted the new identity of Oracle, and now aids the Dark Knight with her computer expertise, providing Batman with a constant stream of information in the field to aid his battle against crime. Occupation information broker. That's funny. Blue eyes, red hair, 5'11", 126 pounds. First showed up in 1967, Detective Comics 359. Eidetic memory. Now, how come they got it right here? Almost total recall of everything she sees and reads. Extensive headquarters in Gotham City's clock tower, filled with information archives. We get to see that later in Arkham Knight, which is pretty cool. Higher level hacking and computer skills. So she's neat. Then there's Alfred. Alfred Pennyworth, after a varied career, was employed as the Wayne's family's butler when Bruce Wayne's parents were killed. Alfred raised the young orphan and reluctantly aided him in the quest to become the Batman. His many skills, ranging from cooking to medicine, make him Batman's staunchest ally, along with a formal demeanor that grounds the Dark Knight and deflects those who might otherwise suspect Bruce Wayne's true identity. Occupation is valet. Also, blue eyes, black hair, 6 foot, 160 pounds. First showed up in 1943. So he was not in the first several issues. Interesting. Joker actually predates Alfred. That's very interesting. Skilled actor, trained in emergency medical techniques, proficiency with mechanical and computer systems, expert in domestic sciences, unflappable manner. Unlike Batman, Alfred is willing to wield firearms in times of crisis. Well, I did not know that. How come he didn't use it against Bane in Arkham Origins? Quincy Sharp has been running Arkham Asylum for the past 3 years and has dedicated his life to restoring to sanity the so-called supervillains that plague Gotham City. He is currently campaigning to become the next mayor of Gotham. To facilitate this campaign, he has instigated stringent new security and experimental research policies at Arkham. Warden of Arkham Asylum, Gotham City, blue. Everyone's got blue eyes. What's up with that? 5'8", 190 pounds. First showed up in Arkham Asylum, summer 2009. He's a novelty. Intense dedication to cleaning up Arkham, pompous and old-fashioned in demeanor with a focus on his own political aspirations, contempt for Arkham inmates, and disinterest in the specifics of their treatment masks a cowardly nature. Interesting. Commissioner Gordon. Police Commissioner James W. Gordon dedicated his career to cleaning up the corruption in the Gotham City Police Department, a goal he has come a long way towards accomplishing. He has been equally tough on crime, and in the pursuit of making Gotham City safe for all its citizens, Gordon has forged an uneasy alliance with Gotham's other top crime fighter, the mysterious vigilante known as Batman. Blue eyes again. Look at that. 6 foot, 180 pounds. He's actually pretty lean. Not too bad. First showed up in Detective Comics 27, May 1939. Experienced police officer, trained criminologist, proficient in hand-to-hand fighting techniques, expert marksman. Aaron Cash, one of the most senior and respected guards at Arkham. Cash is only afraid of one inmate, Killer Croc, who severely wounded Cash once during a riot at the Asylum. Cash remains determined, however, to keep the Asylum's inmates under control and to conquer his fears of Croc. I didn't know that about Croc. That's interesting. He has brown eyes, black hair. He's 6 foot, 185 pounds. First showed up in 2003, Arkham Asylum, Living Hell #1. Great physical strength, excellent reflexes. Not good enough since the Killer Croc got him. One of the most experienced guards at Arkham, lasting enmity with Killer Croc. What we got here? Frank Bowles. Frank has been working at Arkham for 8 years. He has twice been suspended for drinking on the job and regularly holds poker evenings in the guard rooms. Frank is desperate to be top dog at Arkham. He fails to recognize that he is considered untrustworthy and generally disliked. Gee. So he shows that he's a novelty in this as well. Arrogant belief that he's the best guard, uses sarcasm to cover up insecurities and failures. Violent temper has resulted in many injuries to patients. Dr. Penelope Young. Penny Young was always a brilliant student who was prepared to do anything to advance professionally. She's built up a reputation for being a cold, calculating woman focused only on the project at hand. She was hired at Arkham Asylum by Warden Quincy Sharp to head up the asylum's research department and to finally restore to sanity the more deranged of Gotham City's supervillains. Burnett, 5'6", 121 pounds. Novelty to the story. Graduated from Gotham University with top honors. Dedicated to the pursuit of a psychiatric cure for various forms of criminal insanity. Highly focused on career ambitions, intolerant of people who get in the way of her work. Interesting. Okay, here's a good one. Zsasz. A true sociopath, Zsasz grew up in a life of ease, but nonetheless became a serial killer. Indiscriminate in his prey, body count is the only thing that matters to Zsasz. He takes pleasure in arranging the corpses of his victims in lifelike poses before carving a mark for each of his victims into his own body. He is saving a special spot for the Batman. Blue eyes, blonde hair, 5'8", 150 pounds. First showed up in 1992. Sociopath with no regard for human life, no pattern of killing, making him difficult to track, compulsive need to kill others.
Taped patient evaluation 1. Patient name is Victor Zsasz. Diagnosed clinically insane after the murder of at least 20 women in the
Yikes.
area. Hello, Victor. I'm Dr. Cassidy. Seeing as this is our first session, let's spend some time getting to know each other.
I don't need to know you, Miss Cassidy. Everything is meaningless.
Don't you think that's a very negative outlook on life, Victor?
You've no doubt read my file.
Yes, I have. It says you come from a wealthy family, that your parents died, and how you lost all the money gambling.
And none of it matters.
Why do you keep saying that, Victor?
Because the only thing that does matter is the mark. Have you seen my work, Miss Cassidy?
If you're referring to the marks on your...
Of course I mean my tally marks. And I have a space for yours. Do you want to see where?
Creepy.
Taped patient evaluation 5. Victor is not responding well to treatment. Victor, yesterday we spoke about the people you killed.
Ah, the zombies.
They are all people, Victor.
They are zombies. Continuously shuffling through the daily grind, waiting for someone to liberate them.
You mean kill them? The police report states that you've murdered, or liberated, if you like, 20 young women in the last 3 months.
Wow.
Each had her throat slit and was left posed.
They were all lucky to be chosen to receive my gift.
I doubt they would agree with you.
Really? How about you, Miss Cassidy? As you take the elevator to your apartment each night, open the 6 locks to apartment 433. Remember you forgot to buy your cat food. Again.
How do you know
As
where
you sit down on your favorite red chair, cat on lap, just waiting for something to happen. I can make it happen, Sarah. I am your salvation.
Dude's a creep.
Patient's name is Victor Zsasz. For the record, the patient has transferred from Dr. Cassidy, who is on leave after the...
She took a leave of absence. I don't blame her.
Hello, Victor. Please take a seat. Guards, you can leave us.
Sorry, Doctor. Warden's orders. I can't leave you alone with him.
I understand. Hello, Victor. How are you feeling today? Victor, I can't help you if you don't speak.
Depressed. Does that help you? Can you get into my mind, Doctor?
Why depressed?
I'm just thinking about the one that got away.
The one that got away.
I needed the mark. I want the mark.
Victor has been more subdued recently. Response to medication has been poor.
Touching.
Hello, Victor. Is there anything you'd like to talk about today? Victor! This is going nowhere. Guards! Get him out of here!
You were hear me?
He's got a knife! Ah! Get a track in him! Get a track in him! Oh, God! He's on Bill!
He's cutting him! Get him off! Get him off! We need help here!
Damn. Crazy.
Victor has been in isolation since the attack on Zagar last week. As I wait for him to be brought up to me, I have had time to review his notes. I am increasingly worried he cannot be cured. He has no empathy for his victims. Deep down, I believe he views all of us as potential victims.
Wow.
Doc, are you okay?
What's happening?
It's Zaz. He broke out of isolation. He's gone.
Oh, God!
Don't worry, Doc. You're in the safest place. He's definitely left the island.
Of course. But someone needs to alert the authorities. He'll need to kill again. Do you understand me? Needs to. Oh no. He's gone after Dr. Cassidy.
Hello?
Sarah, it's Gretchen. Listen to me.
Hold on. There's someone at the door.
Sarah!
No, don't answer it. What are you doing?
Can you hear me? Do not answer the door. It says he's free.
Oh, snap. They leave it on a cliffhanger. Why do they gotta do that to us? Oh, man. For real? Dang. So there's Zaz. Ooh. Killer Croc. Born with a rare mutation that made his skin green and scaly and grew his body to grotesque proportions, Waylon Jones was raised by an alcoholic aunt and bullied relentlessly for his appearance. He briefly worked as a carnival freak under the name Killer Croc. But his misanthropy grew, as did his bestial nature, pushing him to a life of crime. As his physical condition and mental state deteriorate, Killer Croc becomes a more bestial foe, increasingly detached from humanity. Interestingly enough, he has no tail here, but I think in Arkham Knight, in the DLC, he has a tail, I think. Real name is Waylon Jones. He's an alligator wrestler, gangster, murderer. His eyes are yellow. He has no hair. He's 11 foot tall. So he's 5 feet taller than Batman. Holy crap. 580 pounds? How does he even move? Crazy. First showed up in 1984. Killer Croc has incredibly thick, tough skin and razor-sharp teeth and claws. He's an expert wrestler. His strength and stamina are at near superhuman level, heightened senses, and extremely fast reflexes. He's able to survive in water for extended periods of time. He has an intense hatred of humanity.
Is he here yet? You're kidding me, right? That thing's not a man. My God!
Hello. My name is Dr. Gretchen Whistler. Do you understand me?
Yeah, I hear you, bitch. So when's dinner? I'm getting hungry.
That's a very short clip.
Taped patient session 2. Patient name Waylon Jones, a.k.a. Killer Croc.
So, is this the part where you try and reason with me? Find out why I did it, Doc.
We're here to help you, Mr. Jones.
You got a cure for me then, Doc? Can you make me normal?
Normal is a poor choice of words. No one's really normal, are they?
Figured as much. So, how about this, Doc? You let me go now, and I won't eat you.
You don't really eat people. It's just an urban myth.
Oh, you think? Keep believing that, Doc.
Sit down and shut up!
You think I'm scared of you, Cash? I've got your scent. You're
And I've got yours too. Know what?
Please don't do that again.
Seems like he could just kill her and Cash right there. I mean, with teeth like that, couldn't he just take a quick bite and be done with it? I'm sure it's filled with bacteria. Should do the trick.
Patient interview, Valen Jones. Progress has been slow. What happened back in that house?
Just business.
Business? What kind of business practices result in a house full of mutilated corpses?
I don't like having my time wasted. Someone doesn't pay. They need a lesson. They owed me.
So you killed them, tore up their bodies. The police never found all the pieces.
They should have looked in the sewers.
Are you saying you hid them there?
After a while. Usually takes about 8 hours.
Time to go, Frank. Get up.
What, so he put him down the toilet?
Patient interview. Waylon Jones, a.k.a. Killer Croc. Last night, the patient was pacified after a breakout attempt. Gardner and Cash is in hospital. Reports state that the patient attacked Cash and in the struggle consumed his left hand. Cash is lucky to be alive. He lost a lot of blood.
Me too. I nearly choked on that bony hand of his.
That's disgusting. He could have died.
He's just food to me. And once I get a taste, I want the rest of the meal. You know what I mean.
Get him out of here. Now.
You can't help these people. They don't want to be helped.
Got your set too, lady. I'll see you around. Tick-tock, tick.
Why is he saying tick-tock, tick-tock? Oh, time's up. Like, clocks aren't really his thing. Ooh, the Riddler. This will be a good one. With an obsessive-compulsive need for attention, Edward Nygma is determined to be the most outlandish of Gotham City's criminals, concocting elaborate series of clues and riddles around his crimes. Batman has proven a worthy opponent, capable of deducing the Riddler's plans. But Nygma is dedicated to creating a mystery the Dark Knight will not be able to solve in time. His real name is Eddie Nashton, a.k.a. Edward Nygma. Blue eyes, brown hair, 6 foot 1 inch. It's actually just an inch shorter than Batman, weighing in at 183 pounds. That's pretty lean. Shows up as early as 1948. Okay, so that's pretty early. Genius intellect, driven by a need to test his wits against law enforcement by leaving clues to his planned crimes. Compulsive need for attention.
Patient interview 21. Patient's name is Edward Nygma, also known as the Riddler. So, Edward, Warden Sharp tells me you've been leaving threatening riddles scrawled on the asylum walls. Again.
One would have to be severely paranoid to read threats into harmless riddles, Dr. Young. May I test you with one?
Very well.
What is it that walks on 4 legs, then 2 legs, and finally 3 legs?
A human being. As a baby, it crawls on 4 legs. As an adult, it walks on 2. And in later years, it uses a cane.
Good try. But the answer to all 3 is a baby. True, it crawls on all 4s, but cut off its legs and it can only wiggle on 2 limbs. Give it a crutch, it can hobble around on 3. You see?
It's horrible. How can you even joke about that?
Easily, Doctor. It's not my baby.
Oh, man. There's no hope.
Taped interview 39. Patient's name is Edward Nygma. At this point in time, I've yet to decide if Mr. Nygma is a suitable candidate for the Titan process. I'd like to talk about your childhood.
Miserable. Next.
By all accounts, that is where your fascination with riddles began. I believe discussing those years could explain your compulsive behavior.
Very well. My father hated me. Always called me a moron.
I see.
I was determined to prove him wrong, so I entered a contest at school. A $20 prize to the kid who could figure out an almost impossible logic problem. I won, of course.
And that pleased your father?
Hardly. He was convinced I had cheated. He kept yelling, "You must have cheated! Admit it, you moron! You cheated!" I swore I didn't, and he hit me for lying.
I'm sorry to hear that, Edward.
Don't be. He was right.
And that's ultimately the same accusation he makes of Batman.
Yet another interview with Edward Nigma. I've yet to make up my mind whether he's a genius or just deluded. Whichever one he is, just being in his company is both irritating and exhausting.
Hello, Miss Young. You look tired. Anything you need my help with?
No, thank you, Edward. I am here to help you. We all are.
Forgive my arrogance, Doctor, but if you think I need your help, well, you're in the right place.
Let's look at it a different way. Throughout your career, you have specialized in bizarre traps and convoluted clues that more often than not result in the death of the unfortunate participants.
And if the citizens of Gotham were smarter, my games would be merely an amusing diversion.
Instead of death traps.
You really should be thanking me. Weeding out the ignorant, the stupid, the useless. But don't worry, I'm sure you would survive. What a lovely photo on your desk, Doctor. Your family? Mother, perhaps.
Put that down. Get out. Guard!
If they're so concerned about having photographs and images of family and anything that can tie them to other people or even location, why even have it in there to begin with? Just wondering.
Let's discuss your obsession with Batman.
Hardly an obsession, Miss Young. I simply feel an obligation to expose him.
You know who he is?
More important, I know what he is.
What do you mean?
It's obvious. The mask, the weapons, the scare tactics. He's a criminal. No different than Joker or Two-Face. Or myself.
It's true.
Most people consider him a hero.
Most people are idiots. They can't see Batman for the villain he is. Riddle me this. How did he get his car and his gadgets?
I don't...
With money stolen from the criminals he defeats. Why does Gordon turn a blind eye to his antics? Batman bribes him. The answers are right in front of your stupid, gawking face.
Edward, please, calm down.
Wake up, Gotham! No sane, law-abiding man does those things. No one's that selfless. Batman is as vile as they come.
Security! Security! This is my final interview with Edward. I have gone as far as I can. I can no longer tolerate his mood swings and tantrums. I have more important work to be getting on with. He will be transferred to Dr. Whistler's care as of next week.
Good morning, Doctor. How are you today?
Fine, thank you, Edward. You're in a good mood.
I'm always in rare spirits when I'm about to be released.
Edward, you know you don't come up for parole for another 3 years.
First thing I'll do is have dinner at that Italian place on 19th Street.
Seriously, Edward.
I only hope Joker hasn't completely trashed the city. Oh well, I'm sure I'll find out soon enough.
Wait, have you been in contact with the Joker? He escaped Arkham weeks ago.
And yet, one hears things.
What things? What have you heard?
Oh, something about a surprise party for Batman. I forget the rest. You know Joker. Yak, yak, yak.
Edward, if you know anything, you have got to tell me. Lives could be at stake. What did Joker say?
You forget, Doctor. I'm the one who asks the riddles.
It's funny. All right. Poison Ivy. Here we go. Botanist Pamela Isley was transformed by a science experiment gone wrong into a plant-human hybrid. With chlorophyll flowing through her veins instead of blood, she developed a toxic touch and a pheromone-fueled talent for seduction. Her crimes have become more ecologically focused as she has increasingly abandoned her human side, identifying more with the natural world. Her unique brand of eco-terrorism often puts her into conflict with Batman, whose iron will usually protects him from her seductive powers. Let's see, her hair is red, eyes green, 5'8", 115 pounds, First showed up in June 1966, the Batman number 181 issue. She has an ability to encourage and direct the growth of all plant life. Plant genes mixed in with her DNA make her an unpredictable and formidable physical opponent. She exudes natural pheromones that enable her to exert control over victims. Her skin secretes a toxin that can make her touch deadly. And she has a pathological drive to rid the world of humanity and make it safe for plant life.
Patient interview. Pamela Lillian Isley, November 12th, 11:33 a.m. Good morning, Pamela. How are you today?
Fine. Today is a special day.
What do you mean?
This is the anniversary of my new life. When I found my true self, my destiny.
Are you referring to the event with Dr. Woodrow?
Yes. What else? Of course, at the time, I thought Jason had poisoned me. But in retrospect, he did me a huge favor.
And why do you believe what he did has helped you?
He showed me the bigger world. A world I should protect. Of course, my first offer was rejected.
Offer? You tried to kill everyone in Gotham.
Well, sometimes you need to prune back hard in order to make something flourish.
Prune. That's funny.
Patient interview. Pamela Lillian Isley, November 14th, 10:21 a.m. Hello, Pamela. Today I'd like to go back to something you said in our last conversation.
Ask me anything you like.
You said your first offer to help Gotham was rejected. How can you possibly believe that?
What do you mean?
You released thousands of poisonous spores into Gotham, killed hundreds of people. How does that help anybody?
I'm not interested in bodies, Doctor. Horrible fleshy sacks walking around destroying my poor babies with their greed and arrogance.
But aren't you one of those fleshy sacks? Were a doctor too. How can you turn your back on us?
Quite easily as it happens. But not you, Stephen. You're different. I feel we have a connection.
Really? You do?
Of course.
She's trying to seduce him.
I got you what you asked for. Do you like it?
Oh, yes, Stephen, I love it. Such a beautiful flower. Do you mind if I keep it?
Oh, no, Pamela. I can't leave it. It's against all the rules. I'll just bring it and show it to you when I visit.
But it's me, Stephen. I get so lonely on my own. You wouldn't want me to be lonely, would you?
No, of course not. Keep it. Just don't let anyone see. Really. No.
You can trust me, Stephen. Thank you. Now give me a kiss.
I can't. People will see.
No one's watching. What's wrong with you? Don't you love me? Call me Ivy.
Of course I love you.
She's got him.
Where is Dr. Kellerman?
How should I know, Warren? It does seem careless of you to have lost him.
I have no time for your games, Miss Isley. Tell me where you have him. We have security footage of you and him leaving your cell last night.
So,
Do I need to spell it out? We know you hypnotized him, or whatever it is you did. We know he took you somewhere, but conveniently, security cameras across the island were mysteriously covered by leaves and flowers at 3 a.m. Now tell me what it is.
I'm not saying a word unless you do exactly what I tell you to do.
We found him, no thanks to you. The poor man could have died.
So,
He has a wife, a child.
as do the plants he travels underfoot. The spores he breathes in and destroys have children. Why does he deserve anything more than them? You people ignore what is happening in front of your eyes.
I refuse to put the welfare of plants before the welfare of people.
And that is why you will lose. There's more happening than you know, Warden. It's all connected.
All connected. Okay, Poison Ivy. Time for Harley Quinn. An Arkham Asylum psychiatrist assigned to treat the Joker, Dr. Harleen Quinzel instead became obsessively fixated on her patient, believing herself to be in love with him. She helped him escape confinement and took on her own criminal identity as Harley Quinn. Quinn is a violent and unpredictable felon whose only motivation beyond general mayhem is achieving the Joker's approval. Because of his cruel and mercurial nature, this in some ways makes her just another of his victims, albeit a very dangerous one. Blue eyes, blonde hair, 5'7", 140 pounds. First showed up in 1999. That can't be right. She was in the Batman animated series before 1999. So maybe they're not including that? They're just going off of comics? She has surprising strength and stamina, superior gymnastic skills, total disregard for human life, and like the Joker, she is a homicidal psychotic who escapes easy classification.
Harleen Quinzel,
Call me Harley. Everyone does.
I'm surprised you want to intern here at Arkham.
I've always had a thing for extreme personalities. You can't deny there's an element of glamour to these super criminals.
I'll warn you right now. These are hardcore psychotics. Most would rather kill you than speak to you.
I'm sure I'll be fine, Doctor.
They'll eat you for breakfast. I mean it. One or two of them will enjoy it too. Be careful.
The Arkham Origins Harleen Quinzel didn't sound anything like that.
Patient interview number 1.
So I'm your first, am I, Toots? You know what they say, you never forget your first time. I'll try to make it memorable for you.
Oh, you already have. Tell me, why do you do the things you do?
Why do you think I do it?
Fame, notoriety, a desire to stand out from the crowd, a wicked sense of humor.
You're good. How did you figure me out, Doc? I've had doctors poking around in here for years, and no one was as astute, and if you don't mind my saying, beautiful as you.
Really? You're just playing with me.
Well, you'll never know, will you? Unless...
Unless what? Tell me. Care to tell me how these got in my office?
Simple, really? I put them there. Why? You don't like flowers?
I think the guards would be interested to know you've been out of your cell.
Oh, if you really were going to tell, you already would have.
How do you know I haven't already?
You know, sweet, I like you. I really do. Even your name. Rework it a bit and we get...
Harley Quinn, like the clown. I know, I've heard it before.
It's a name that puts a smile on my face. It makes me think there's someone here I can relate to. Someone who might like to hear my secrets.
Really? Go on.
Not here, my dear. Too many ears and eyes. Come back tonight. I'll be ready for you. He's crazy, you know.
Who? Batman?
No, Santa Claus. Of course, Batman. Always Batman. I've seen it in his eyes. Screaming mad starters. And dishonest. Hiding his face behind a fright mask. Well, no masks for me. I have nothing to hide. I laugh at the cruel absurdity of the world. But Batman, he's got them all fooled. He's made them think he can make a difference, that he can actually make things better. And the joke of it is, they all believe it.
The police?
The police, the media, the frickin' junior rangers. Every last sack of walking meat in this urban cesspool. Listen, sweets, Batman knows we're all on the same funhouse slide into madness. Why won't he admit it? He's up there in his belfry laughing at us. And the real gag is the miserable liar is allowed to run free while I'm in here.
That's really incisive.
Then you understand, don't you? You know why I do what I have to do. You know Gotham's only real savior is me.
I got what you wanted.
You did? Actually, I don't want to know. So are you ready to stop that evil, murdering bat once and for all?
Of course I am. He needs to pay for what he's done to you.
Give it here then, quickly. Come on, Doc. We've got ourselves a bat to kill.
Doc's outputting. Say hello to your new and improved Harley Quinn.
Well, it didn't take much to get her. Ooh, Catwoman, an orphan who learned to survive on Gotham City's streets. Selina Kyle took to thievery to survive. But determined to do it in style, she learned martial arts and trained extensively to perfect her skills at cat burglary. Her criminal activities are often tempered by a reluctant altruism, making her an inconstant villain. I think that's probably inconsistent villain, an occasional hero. She regularly eludes capture by the Dark Knight and maintains a complicated adversarial relationship with Batman that frequently turns flirtatious and occasionally legitimately romantic. Selina Kyle, green eyes, black hair, 5'7", 125 pounds. First appeared spring 1940. Oh, so she's been around longer than Alfred. Trained gymnast and athlete, expert hand-to-hand combat, highly skilled with her specialized whip, a cat o' nine tails. Capable of astonishing stealth, obsessed with and adept at stealing famous and well-protected items. Drawn to cat motifs. Okay, Bane. Ooh. Imprisoned from birth to serve his dead father's sentence, Bane was raised inside the horrific environs of a Santa Prisca prison. His only friend in the hellhole was a teddy bear he named Osito. Finding solace in smuggled books and meditation, he developed incredible powers of concentration. When he was subjected to military experiments using a steroid codenamed Venom, his iron-forged will helped him survive when other test subjects had died, and he managed to escape. Determined to prove his worth, he sought out Batman and broke the Dark Knight's spine, but Batman recovered and managed to best Bane, cutting off his precious venom supply that transforms Bane into a superhuman. Don't know his real name. Brown eyes, brown hair, 5'6". When on Venom, he's 6'8". Seems like he would be a lot bigger than that. Just thinking in terms of Arkham Origins, he's more like Killer Croc size, which would mean he's 11 foot. Weight, 140 pounds, but when on Venom, 350 pounds. Holy crap. Batman Vengeance of Bane, #1, January 1993. Master Strategist. Intense focus, abnormally strong reaction to Venom, giving him incredibly enhanced physical abilities. Determined to best Batman and all others who challenge him. Oh, Scarecrow, here we go. Taunted and bullied as a youth, Jonathan Crane vowed to overcome his fears through the study of psychology and biochemistry. Kicked out of his university for experimenting on human subjects, Crane then adopted the identity of the Scarecrow and armed himself with a specialized fear-inducing gas that makes a person's deepest phobias become frighteningly real. His ongoing criminal reign of terror makes him one of Batman's most psychologically dangerous foes. Jonathan Crane, blue eyes, brown hair, 6 foot, 140 pounds. First appeared 1941. Master of psychology, master of chemistry, creator of fear-inducing gas, motivated by an obsessive need to create fear in others.
Patient interview 1. Patient was referred to me after the incident with Dr. Murphy. He appears to have suffered a breakdown of sorts. I believe it was brought about after the loss of his wife and child. As yet, the patient has been unable to speak. Continued observation shows little mental activity. It's as
as if the shock of what he saw triggered his mental collapse.
There's someone in here! It's him. We found him. Break down the door!
Note to self, as ever, it is difficult to continue my research under such conditions.
Step away from Dr. Combs! Now! Get down on the ground! We found them. Someone get a medic. Oh, God, what's he done to him?
Patient interview 6. Dr. Crane has been back in custody for 3 weeks. Regular sessions have been inconclusive. I am not sure he is actually insane.
Good evening, Stephen. How are you tonight?
I'm conducting the session, Jonathan.
Of course. If that helps you cope, I wouldn't have it any other way.
Let's talk about the events 3 weeks ago. What did you think you'd achieve? Dr. Murphy is still in therapy.
I wanted to understand him. His personal demons, his fears. It's all quite fascinating, really.
But you were a respected doctor. A brilliant mind. Now just another resident in Arkham.
Can I have a drink? A strong one? This kind of question bores me.
I'm afraid not.
Interesting choice of words, Doctor. Tell me, what are you afraid of?
Well, he's a master at twisting that whole thing around, isn't he?
Patient interview 9. Dr. Crane continues to evade questions. I believe he is quite sane, just evil. He takes no interest in the people he has hurt. His research appears to be the only motivating factor in his life. What is it about fear that drives your obsession?
Fear drives everything, Stephen. Everything. Your life is governed by fear. Every decision you make is a product of that fear.
Don't be ridiculous.
You married your wife. Margaret, isn't it? Because you were scared of dying alone. You have children because you're scared of leaving nothing behind that really matters. You go to the doctors because you're scared of dying. Do I need to go on?
No. I think that will be all for today.
Boy, he shook.
Guards,
He shook.
today I have another interview with Crane. I cannot say I am looking forward to it. I've been feeling anxious. I don't like to admit it, but I think he's getting to me.
How are you today?
I keep telling you, this is my session.
It was your session, Doctor, but not anymore.
Are you okay, Doc? I think. Yes,
Oh, he's fine. Just questioning his grip on reality. You should be doing the same any second.
Mom? Is that you? Wait, what are you doing?
Get off of me. Help! I need help here! I can't breathe!
Like I said, you're all part of my experiment now.
He got his fear toxin in there.
Asylum interview 1. My experiment is underway. Working alone, I have created my ultimate fear gas. Its potency, a revelation.
They're all over me! Please, Daddy. Don't do it!
Keep away. I have pumped enough gas into the medical center to break 100 minds. It should only be a matter of time before... What?
Give it up. Now!
How are you still standing? How come it's not affecting you?
Who says it's not?
I knew it. What was it like? What have you seen?
Officer Cash, get this formula to the air conditioning system now. You failed, Crane. Again. I've been working with Dr. Kellogg in creating an antidote to the toxins in your cologne. He fooled you, Crane. How does that make you feel? Threatened? Humiliated? Scared?
Batman turned over the tables. That's great. Okay, Two-Face. District Attorney Harvey Dent was one of Batman's strongest allies in Gotham City until a criminal threw acid in Dent's face, hideously scarring him. The wounds fractured his psyche, and he was reborn as a schizoid criminal mastermind, obsessed with duality. His former good luck charm, a two-headed trick silver dollar, was damaged on one side in the attack, and Dent has seized on it as a reflection of his half-scarred visage. He flips it to decide the fates of his victims. Despite Batman's efforts to reform his former ally, Dent is consumed by his fixation on chance, and his crimes are designed to prove out his diametric philosophy. Blue Eyes again, brown and gray, 6 foot, 182 pounds, showing up in 1942. He is hideously scarred on the left half of his face, which he plays up with clothing that's differently styled on one side. Extremely skilled with his weapons of choice, twin 45s, psychotic obsession with duality, designing crimes around the number 2, and defers to his half-scarred coin in choices of life or death. Interesting. Jack Ryder is an investigative reporter turned controversial talk show host, well known for his aggressive manner and his determination to get to the truth. What his viewers don't realize is that he's also the Creeper, a garishly colored vigilante who Ryder can, with effort, turn into at will. Although at that point, the Creeper's manic personality takes over. The Creeper is usually on the side of good and just barely on the side of sanity. Interesting. I did not know that. First appearing in 1968. Interesting. Determined reporter, known for his aggressive pursuit of stories, famous for his controversial talk show, secret identity as his alter ego, the Creeper. Weird. He's a creeper. Mr. Grinch. Okay, Gotham's Blackgate Penitentiary once had a gallows tree from which 313 criminals with death sentences were hanged. The wood from that tree was whittled by an inmate into the puppet Scarface, and that inmate was murdered by Arnold Wesker, a man who soon fell under Scarface's influence. While most believe that Scarface is simply a tool through which Wesker, as the criminal mastermind, the ventriloquist, acts out a dark side to his personality, Wesker himself believes that Scarface is possessed by the souls who died beneath the gallows tree, and the puppet actually motivates him to commit the duo's many crimes. Scarface, he's a puppet appearing in 1988. Animated with eerie verisimilitude by the ventriloquist, frequently wields undersized but lethal weaponry. When teamed with the ventriloquist, acts as an old-style mob boss with a sociopathic disregard for human life. What is this one? A dark reflection of Batman, Prometheus was raised by criminals who were gunned down by policemen right in front of him. Dedicating his life to destroying the law, Prometheus traveled the world and trained in the ways of murder. Clad in an armored suit that maximizes his natural skills, he is a master assassin whose physical and mental abilities rival Batman's own. 6 foot, 180 pounds. Pathological need to kill law officers, trained to peak physical and mental levels, arsenal of weapons, and deadly gadgets. Interesting. Zeus. The deranged gang leader Maxi Zeus came to believe himself an avatar of the Olympian god Zeus. Creating a cult of gang members to do his bidding, Zeus became a power player in the Gotham City underworld. His criminal activities are perpetrated by his army of followers, and he believes overseen by the Greek gods themselves. 5'6", so he's short. Very short, 135 pounds. Driven by complex religious delusions, charismatic leader who has developed a long-standing cult, determined to extend his powerful reach and recruit new followers. Ooh, Hush. Tommy Ellett and Bruce Wayne were childhood friends. And unknown to Bruce, dark reflections of each other. A childhood sociopath, Elliot tried to kill his parents so he could inherit their fortune. When his plan failed partly due to the surgical skills of Thomas Wayne, Bruce's father, Elliot blamed Bruce. An incredibly skilled surgeon as an adult, Elliot planned an elaborate revenge scheme on the Batman. Why on Batman? He disguised himself as the villain Hush, his face covered in bandages, but he was in the end defeated and unmasked by the Dark Knight. Hush still plots revenge against Batman, generating complicated schemes with surgical precision. 6'3", so he's taller than Batman, 225 pounds. First showed up in 2003. Great physical strength augmented by a hatred of Bruce Wayne, world-class surgeon capable of extraordinary medical breakthroughs, master of disguise, and determined to destroy Bruce Wayne. A crooked financier who stole millions of dollars, Warren White thought he'd scored a legal victory when his insanity plea went through, but when he got to Arkham Asylum, he realized his mistake. Driven insane by the other inmates, he was also disfigured by an encounter with Mr. Freeze that left him without hair, a nose, ears, or lips. Calling himself the Great White Shark, he filed his teeth into fangs to more perfectly resemble his new namesake. Putting his financial skills to use, he has become a major player in Gotham's underground crime scene, running a number of rackets from his cell in Arkham. 5'11", 180 pounds, 2003. Brilliant financial skills, which he uses for a variety of criminal purposes. Scarred visage that makes him resemble a shark. Teeth sharpened to points. So he's basically Jaws, just in the Batman narrative. Ra's al Ghul. Or as it's pronounced in the Batman Begins, Ra's al Ghul. Little is known of the early years of the nearly immortal Ra's al Ghul, whose name means the demon's head. But it is known that he has lived for many centuries due to Lazarus pits, mystical and alchemical brews that restore his youth. A brilliant master of strategy and organization, Ra's al Ghul's goal is to save the Earth from ecological devastation by destroying most of its population. He recognizes Batman as both a worthy foe and possible ally, except that Batman cannot accept his dystopic worldview. Batman also shares a love-hate relationship with Ra's daughter, the beautiful Talia. International terrorist. Interesting. 6'3", so he's taller than Batman, 210 pounds. First appearing in 1971. Genius intellect and strategist, superior strength and stamina, superb hand-to-hand combat trained over millennia, nearly immortal thanks to his Lazarus pits, commands a legion of followers dedicated to bringing his vision of an earthly paradise to fruition. The Mad Hatter. Obsessed from a young age with Lewis Carroll's book Alice Adventures in Wonderland, Jervis Tetch, an expert hypnotist, embraced a delusion that he was the incarnation of a character in the story, the Mad Hatter. Using his skills for mesmerism, the Mad Hatter has committed many crimes, often themed around the book, that inspired him and his love of hats and headgear, going so far as to implant his hats with mind-control chips to amplify his hypnosis skills. Above all other headwear, however, he covets Batman's distinctive cowl and will stop at nothing to acquire it. 4'11". Wow, 115 pounds. First appearing in 1948. Master of hypnotism and mind control, obsessed with hats, especially one-of-a-kind items, delusional schizophrenic with a fixation on Alice in Wonderland. Arnold Wesker has a timid orphan whose deep repression erupted in a barroom brawl, resulting in him being sent to Blackgate Prison. There he encountered the puppet Scarface and promptly murdered the man who'd carved the puppet. The two are now inseparable, with Scarface directing a series of criminal activities. While most believe that Wesker is simply acting out a second personality through the puppet, Wesker sees himself as a reluctant lackey who merely does his puppet's bidding. 5'7", 142 pounds, 1988. Killer Moth, not to be confused with Firefly. Drury Walker was a minor criminal who adopted the identity of Cameron Van Cleer, a master criminal who in turn masqueraded as the costumed supervillain Killer Moth. He is a hired gun for Gotham's gangsters, but his ingenious weaponry, including his cocoon gun, does not protect him from regular defeat at the hands of the Batman. 5'9", 155 pounds, relatively small. He's been around a while. 1951. Obsessed with fame and identity change, skilled inventor. He's amoral and motivated by feelings of insecurity and inadequacy into criminal activities in an attempt at notoriety. So how's he different from Firefly? He looks pretty similar. Clayface, hey. Initially an actor in horror films, Carlo went mad when he learned a classic film of his was to be remade with a different actor in the lead role. He took on the mask of the film's villain, Clayface, and killed several of the remake's cast and crew before being stopped by Batman and Robin. Later, Carlo joined the Mud Pack, an alliance of shape-changing, mutated villains who had subsequently used the name Clayface. While that group was defeated, Carlo tricked his allies and injected himself with the essences of several of them, becoming a superhuman imbued with the abilities to change shape, melt others into protoplasm with a touch, and mimic the powers of heroes or villains he copies. I did not know about his touch here. That's interesting. Basil Carlo, 6'5", 265 pounds, 1940. So he's actually one of the earliest villains. Did not know that. Can alter his physical form, adopting the appearance of nearly anyone. His malleable physical form makes him extremely difficult to injure or contain. His touch can be poisonous. Yikes. Oh, Hugo Strange. First gaining fame as a psychiatrist who declared that he'd fully analyzed the Dark Knight from afar, Professor Hugo Strange lent credence to his own claims by deducing Batman's true identity as Bruce Wayne. However, his interest in the Batman turned into a deranged obsession, and he's used his medical expertise to hatch a series of bizarre plots based around genetics and mind control in order to defeat the Batman and possibly take his place. Strange's fragile mental state has left him with intermittent knowledge of Batman's true identity, the fact that hangs over Bruce Wayne's head. For if Strange ever snaps completely, Batman's greatest secret might be revealed. He's 5'10", 160 pounds, 1940, so it came out pretty early. All right. The Rat Catcher. Once employed as an actual rat catcher in Gotham, Otis Flanagan soon started using his natural gift and affinity with and ability to control rats to stage a variety of crimes. Eventually, his control over the vermin grew until he threatened Gotham City with a veritable army of rodents. Incarcerated many times at Blackgate, he's able to do as much damage within prison as without, using his loyal pets to relay messages and transport materials inside the maze of ventilation ducts that wind throughout the giant prison. 5'11", 155 pounds, 1988. Thorough knowledge of Gotham's sewer system and Blackgate Prison's layout. He has an eerie ability to wordlessly communicate with and command all rats. Overvalues rodent life, especially in comparison to human life. So he's Poison Ivy, but for rats. Humpty Dumpty. An obese, bald man nicknamed Humpty Dumpty for his egg-like form, Humphrey Dumpler is obsessed with taking things apart and putting them back together. His crimes at first were minor break-ins, leading to small mechanical items no longer functioning due to Dumpler's inability to adequately reassemble them after taking them apart. I know the feeling. But soon his obsession grew to the point that major disasters occurred in Gotham, and Dumpler's crimes also extended to a gruesome attempt to fix his abusive grandmother by dismembering her and then attempting to Frankenstein-like reassembly. At Arkham, he is a model inmate, his quiet nature and imposing physique inuring him to the madness surrounding him. 6'3", 345 pounds. Wow. 2003, so he's a relative newcomer. extremely tall, heavy, and strong, possesses an almost unnaturally quiet, deliberate nature. Ritualized childhood abuse has led to a severe case of arrested development and an inability to assimilate into modern society, obsessed with the processes of disassembly and reassembly. Excuse me. What do you got here? Black Mask. Doesn't look nearly as cool as he does in Arkham Origins. Following the suspicious death of his multimillionaire parents in a fire, Roman Sionis inherited their fortune and then went on to bankrupt their company. Saved by a buyout by Bruce Wayne, Sionis came to resent and hate Wayne, fixated on the concept of masks. Sionis carved one from his father's black coffin and sought revenge. His ensuing battle with the Dark Knight caused his mask to be burnt into his skin, remaking him as the Black Mask. Sionis is now a feared gang leader and one of the most powerful mob bosses in Gotham, with a burning hatred of the Batman. 6'1", 195 pounds, 1985. Obsessed with masks, harbors a hatred of Batman and Bruce Wayne. Face resembles a black skull, feared and powerful mob boss, skilled marksman known for his double handguns. Firefly! A pyromaniac, Garfield Lynns began as a petty criminal, but soon graduated to major crimes centering around arson, torching huge parts of Gotham in the process. But his fire soon raged out of his control, leaving him horribly scarred by one of his own blazes. His body is almost fully covered with burns, and he now wears a full-body flame-retardant suit when he's out pursuing his criminal interests between bouts of incarceration in Blackgate. 5'11", 165 pounds, 1952. So around the time as Killer Moth, but instead of a cocoon gun, they reinvented him with the fire. I don't know who came first. Thorough knowledge of flammable agents, extensive arsenal of fire-creating weapons, scarred over 90% of his body, sociopath with intense pyromania. Let's take a look. 1951, Killer Moth came first. He probably didn't do very well, and then they came out with Firefly. 1952, yep. Tweedledee and Tweedledum, cousins with an uncanny resemblance to each other. Deaver and Dumfrey Tweed both shared criminal leanings and a fixation on Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland. Why does that keep coming up? Teaming up, they've modeled themselves after Tweedledum and Tweedledee from that book, planning off in outrageous, absurdist schemes to trap the Batman. 5'9", 175 pounds, 1943, so very old. Obsession with Alice in Wonderland, skilled criminal masterminds, despite being cousins, could pass as identical twins. Do they ever team up with Mad Hatter? Just curious. Calendar Man. Fixated on the calendar, Julian Day became Calendar Man, a villain who timed and tied his crimes thematically to certain holidays throughout the year, often leaving clues by which he could be caught. Gotham City's hopes for a day off are often clouded by the knowledge that any holiday of note is likely to be shadowed by Calendar Man's presence. 6'3", 175 pounds, 1958. Obsessed with quirks of the calendar, carefully plans and themes crimes around holidays. Amadeus Arkham founded the Elizabeth Arkham Asylum for the criminally insane, naming it after his mother, whom he euthanized as treatment for her dementia. Building it on the grounds of his family's historic mansion on the outskirts of Gotham, Amadeus personally treated to its first patient, Martin Mad Dog Hawkins, who had killed Amadeus's wife and daughter. That seems like a conflict of interest if I've ever seen one. After administering fatal electroshock treatments to Hawkins, Amadeus lost all grip on his sanity and was admitted to his own institution. Could have seen that one coming. 5'11", 175 pounds, 1974. Really? Really? Highly respected psychiatrist until his fall to insanity, heir to the Arkham land and fortune, delusional schizophrenic. And the golden treasure of all of these Easter eggs, the spirit of Arkham. Quincy Sharp has long been hiding a secret. Doctors had previously diagnosed him with a schizophrenic personality disorder, but he chose to ignore it. How could someone of his importance be ill like the dogs in his asylum? On taking over the administration of Arkham Asylum, Sharp became obsessed with the hidden writings of Amadeus Arkham. As he read more of these memoirs, he became almost two people, one dedicated to curing Gotham, the other desiring only to eradicate the evil of insanity from Arkham. In his demented state, he has stalked and killed patients, his ultimate goal being to kill the Joker. It is possible the rational side of his personality is not even aware of this dark, destructive force within him. So it's Quincy Sharp. Novelty for the game. Intense dedication to cleaning up Arkham. An alternate personality that is prepared to kill patients to facilitate the cure. Contempt and disgust for all forms of psychiatric disorder that is rooted in self-loathing. We have a series of deciphered messages to go through. Let's give them a go.
I am the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. Through my actions, I have saved this cursed city, though my own curse is to forever remain in the shadows. My story is carved into the very soul of Arkham, and will only be revealed to those dedicated enough to discover it. My family's blood ran through the heart of Gotham. We were doctors, politicians, and teachers.
Good people.
We have been the organ, cleaning the arterial filth from the city.
Gross.
We have been its servants, giving all to protect it. And still it has chosen to hurt us.
That's what Gotham does.
As Gotham's veins slowly filled with pain and suffering, the effects were felt everywhere. My father fell first, infected by some foul disease. My mother lived on, but only in a dream. I returned to the family home to care for her, where she remained in her bed for as long as her body continued to breathe. Her tears kept me awake at night.
Leak.
My journey lasted little over a month. Visiting academics in both Metropolis and Keystone, I was exposed to a wealth of new ideas. I began my day returning home in good spirits, eager to see my wife and family. I ended it kneeling in their blood, broken fragments of my life, pouring through dripping red fingers.
Well, that sucks.
I returned to my work, but I could not shake the pictures from my mind. I should have been repulsed, but I was more eager than ever to find an explanation for why someone would do this.
You didn't want an explanation. You wanted revenge.
They brought the animal before me, shameless and barking like a mad dog. For what felt like days, I endured his boasts. He took pleasure recounting his actions, cataloguing his depraved crimes. What should have been revenge turned to pity. This poor dog needed my help.
Oh, and you were all too glad to provide it.
The island changed little over the years. Its reputation was in tatters, but I vowed to fix it. As the buildings were rebuilt, I saw the future. A bright, wonderful future. New brick, metal and paint covered old wounds. Fresh blood was injected into the body. Bright new minds came, and all swore to uphold our promises. We all knew we were the ones to fix this city, and the city would thank us. My family's killer stood in front of me. Years of therapy have deemed him sane. I was proud to see him walk free. In exchange for his liberty, the state required only a signature. He talked about wanting to walk in a park, how he longed to feel fresh air on his face. And then he took my father's fountain pen and killed my secretary. As he was subdued, he screamed out, pleading for forgiveness, for pity. But I had none. I watched as guards beat him to a stain on the floor.
How did he kill him with a fountain pen? They're not sharp.
Spring was a turning point, a new beginning, a glorious realization of my true destiny. My family's killer perished in an unfortunate accident. These animals cannot be cured. Like dogs, they only respond to discipline. And if that fails, then I was afraid that these accidents would have to continue.
Neglect. Tort. Oh my word.
I took a walk around my island. I passed by the penitentiary and felt nauseous at the thought of the filth it contained. I looked out over the Gotham Bay, and in the distance I saw lights. No doubt boats bringing more filthy degenerates to my city. I swore again to protect her from this darkness. I argued with the latest group of young, eager doctors. They bored me with theories and ideas, proving that they had no theories on how to cure these animals. Only one shared my vision. I offered her the chance to explore her dreams. She accepted. We'll make a good team. The Gotham police dragged a new patient to the island. They said he was responsible for the disappearance of hundreds of the city's vagrants. As I looked at his disgusting body, all scales and teeth, my mind ran free, dreaming of delicious punishments to break this monster. Doctors gathered around, poking it, examining, but only I knew what would cure him, once and for all.
Only you
The
would
beast
know.
was too strong. His animal savagery nearly cost me my life. I took my frustrations out on a lone patient. His case notes suggested he was a paranoid schizophrenic. His pleas, as I beat him to death, suggested much more. His confessions were illuminating. My path was clear. Every day I found the patients more distracting. Their insane mutterings and constant twitching disgusted me. There was only one way to cure this evil. Only one way to purify the city and ensure its future. I needed to prepare myself. I needed to be ready. I had a sudden pang of conscience. I sought counsel from my priest on the choices I had made. I asked him if it was a sin to kill in order to save a life. The holy man said all life was sacred, but a judgment would not be upon my soul if I acted to save another. I left the confessional with my soul uplifted, convinced more than ever I am doing a service not only to mankind, but to God as well. I watched in silence as he brought in the woman. Her skin now a venomous green. The wanton creature no longer looked like a human being, much less a woman. The Bible says, "Suffer not a witch to live." Yet he has once again delivered this female atrocity to our care. Once I have dealt with the monster, I think it will be time to see if green wood does, in fact, burn.
Huh?
Sitting in the darkness outside of his cell, I watched the crazed twitching, listened to the disgusting words that came from his mouth. How can I let a dirty animal like this live? He is the cancer I have sworn to protect the city from. Curse me for a fool. How could I not see it until now? The monster had a confederate. I hid in the darkness near his cell, and saw with my own eyes one of the doctors whispering to him. She looked at him through the transparent barrier with tenderness, with, dare I say, desire. My skin crawled with revulsion as she kissed the glass. Fighting the urge to dash the woman's head through the glass, I let her continue. The damnable clown might have shared secrets with her that would be useful once the mad dog has been executed.
Which doesn't happen.
I'm sure the woman will reveal what she knows to me. If not willingly, then certainly under electronic persuasion. After that, a lobotomy, I think. Unfortunate for one so young. But her lust has put the reputation of Arkham at stake. Yes, a lobotomy. The very thing. There is no other way to ensure her silence in this regrettable matter.
Damn.
Yet again, I found myself watching him. No one can provide a cure. He laughs in the face of those who try. Amadeus would not have let him live, and neither should I. One last sip of cognac, and I was ready. He watched as I entered the cell. He smiled as I showed him the knife. I told him how I will use it, how I will cleanse this city. And then, terror. I was paralyzed. I struggled. I screamed, but I was silent. The monster looked at me, expressionless. He ran my blade slowly across my forehead. A smile cracked across his horrible porcelain face, and I heard the filth fall from his mouth. He laughed and called me that horrible name.
Ooh, what name is that?
It must have been Crane. Another one who doesn't deserve to live. Why do these people thrive on chaos? Joker, in particular, desired anarchy. And since his escape will no doubt wreak it upon my city, I feel this is the end for my diary. Joker will be recaptured. My story will be told. I am not afraid. If Arkham becomes my cell, then I will know I did my best. I will be remembered. I am the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. Even though Amadeus had long since passed, his spirit lived on, surviving, moving through the walls of his asylum. When it chose me, I felt proud. I was honored to continue his work, to cleanse this city. If you are strong-willed enough to follow my tales, you are strong-minded enough to deduce my identity. Come and find me, friend. Together, we will save Gotham. My name is Quincy Sharp, the spirit of Amadeus Arkham. You have done well to decipher my story, and I pray it has helped you on your path. I trust that through my writings, you will do what is right. Please, I implore you, continue my work. This city deserves a savior. Continue my work.
And there you have it. Spirit of Arkham. Oh, I'm out of water. Is that it for the Easter eggs? I guess so.